I went to a party with my wife, had a few drinks, and woke up in a jail cell. They told me I hit a pedestrian and ran. And that's not even the craziest part. Stick around, you'll want to hear what really happened and what my wife had to do with it. Let me back up. I came to on a narrow bench, back against the wall, mouth dry as sandpaper. There was the cheap fluorescent buzz overhead and the cold metal under me. My head was pounding, stomach rolling, clothes reeking of something I couldn't place. I had no clue where I was. First thought? Hangover. Second? Maybe I got in a fight. Then I saw the bars. The little window. The uniformed guy outside who didn't even blink when I sat up, looked around and said, "Hey, what the hell's going on?" He just said, "Sit tight. Detective will talk to you in a bit." That's when I started getting the cold sweat. You know the kind when something's wrong but your brain hasn't caught up yet. I checked my pockets. Empty. No phone. No wallet. Just me and 1,000 unanswered questions. An hour later, maybe more, time didn't feel real. A guy in plain clothes walks in. Clipboard, badge on the belt. Calm voice. "Mr. Bennett, how you feeling?" "Like garbage," I said. "What am I doing here?" He sat across from me. Flipped a page. "You were found passed out in the driver's seat of a vehicle registered to a man named Tyler Reese." The name meant nothing to me. "You matched the description of someone seen leaving the scene of a hit-and-run about 5 miles from where the car was parked." I blinked. "What? Wait, what?" He didn't flinch. "A man was struck at a crosswalk around midnight. No headlights. Witnesses say the car slowed down, then sped off. No attempt to help. The victim's in critical condition. Unconscious. Hasn't woken up yet." My mouth went dry. "You think I did that?" "We're working with the evidence we have," he said. "You were found drunk, behind the wheel? No signs of forced entry. The keys were still in the car." I didn't even drive last night." "Where were you before midnight?" "We were at a party," I said. "Big one. My wife and I. It was out at some estate. I can't remember the name." He wrote something down. "You left with her?" "I guess. I don't remember leaving. I don't remember driving. I just remember drinks. Music. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in here." "You had a BAC of .14, he said. "Not blackout level for some, but combined with fatigue or other substances." He let it hang. I just stared at the floor. My brain was a mess of static. Then he added, "Your wife gave a statement. Said you disappeared at some point during the party. She thought you'd taken a cab." That didn't make sense. "She didn't drive me home?" He shook his head. "Said she waited, called you a few times, then left alone." I was spinning. "And this Reese guy?" "The car owner. He reported his vehicle stolen this morning. Claimed he left the keys inside, didn't expect someone to take it. Especially not from that kind of party." "Who is he?" "Just a guy," the detective said. "Works in tech. Doesn't know you. No personal link as far as we can tell." But I could tell. Something was wrong. Something was very, very wrong. The party was supposed to be a good time. Friends of friends, big private place out near the hills. Some guy's birthday, rich family, big house, lot of people I barely knew. Haley was excited. New dress, fresh hair, red lipstick, the kind she only wore on nights when she wanted to feel noticed. I didn't think twice. We pulled up around 8. Place was already buzzing. Cars everywhere, music drifting out from the back patio. I remember laughing with her on the walk-in. Felt good. Felt normal. Inside, drinks, lights, music, chatter. You know the type of party where you're just trying to figure out where to stand without looking awkward? I grabbed us a couple glasses of wine. She took hers with that little smirk and said, "This time, you're drinking with me. No excuses." I smiled. "Fine. One night off." She didn't let my glass go empty. Not once. Every time it got low, she found a reason to top it off. Sometimes red, sometimes something else, whatever was closest. And every time I said, "Hey, maybe I should slow down," she laughed it off. "You're fine. Relax. It's just one night." She said it a few times. That's when I noticed it. She'd disappear. Not long. A few minutes. First to the bathroom. Then saying hi to someone. Then looking for the host. Each time she came back, she'd smile, touch my arm, act like nothing happened. I didn't think much of it. Just figured she was being social. Meanwhile, I was getting heavy. You know the kind of drunk where your body starts getting ahead of your brain? I remember standing by the fire pit with some guy in a blazer talking about real estate, and I could barely keep my eyes open. I wasn't slurring yet, but I could feel it coming. At some point, I sat down near the back deck. Just for a second. Head spinning. That buzz in my ears. Everything around me moving a little too fast, a little too bright. Haley appeared. "You good?" "Yeah," I mumbled. "Just tired." She crouched down next to me. Smiled. You want to go? I nodded. She took my hand and walked me to the car. That's the last thing I remember. Just her hand on mine. Warm. Steady. Like everything was fine. I sat there staring at the wall, wrists cuffed, heart pounding like it wanted out. Everything felt wrong, my body, the room, the silence. I didn't even feel real. Then the door opened. Detective. Average height, bald, wedding ring, looked like he hadn't slept in a week. He pulled the chair out across from me, sat down with a sigh like he'd done this too many times before. Mr. Bennett, he said calmly. Do you know why you're here? I shook my head. Not really. My voice was weak, like it belonged to someone else. He opened a folder. You were found unconscious in the driver's seat of a black sedan early this morning. Engine was off, car parked on the shoulder of Route 17, just past the bridge. I blinked. Whose car? Registered to a Tyler Reese. The name meant nothing. You had no ID on you, no phone. Your blood alcohol level was .14. I swallowed hard. I don't remember any of that. He gave a small nod. According to witness statements, a vehicle matching that description struck a pedestrian last night. On a crosswalk. Driver didn't stop. My chest started to close in. What? The victim's in the hospital. Still unconscious. I leaned forward, shackles rattling. Are they alive? Barely. Internal bleeding. Head trauma. We're hoping he pulls through. I dropped back in the chair. My brain couldn't process it. I don't remember driving. You blacked out. I stared at the table. I guess. I don't know. He watched me. Not accusing. Just watching. You and your wife were at a party, he said. She gave a statement. Said you got pretty drunk. Disappeared at some point. She looked for you, called a few times, then figured you'd left. Said she took a cab home. She left without me? That's what she said. I tried to hold on to something, any detail. The party, the music, people talking that I could recall. But the ride home? The car? The accident? Nothing. It was just a black hole. She didn't drive me? No. Said she assumed you'd taken another ride. She went home alone. I sat there frozen. And the guy Reese? I asked. What's his story? He said he left his car unlocked at the party. Didn't expect anyone to take it. Reported it stolen this morning. So, I stole it. Right now, that's the working theory. My hands started to shake. Jesus? You don't remember getting in the car? Starting it? Driving? I shook my head. Nothing. He leaned forward. Look, Mr. Bennett. No one's out to crucify you. But we need answers. We have a seriously injured man, a wrecked car, and you in the driver's seat, drunk. I couldn't breathe. I kept trying to tell myself this was a mistake. That there was no way I'd get behind the wheel like that. But the truth? I didn't know. And that scared the hell out of me. Because what if they were right? What if I actually did this? What if I hit a man and just kept going? I didn't sleep that night. I tried. Just laid there on the hard bench, staring at the ceiling, breathing in stale air, replaying every second of nothing. That was the worst part, the nothing. No memory. No moment where it all clicked. Just this heavy fog and a growing feeling that maybe I really did it. And I hated that. Because I've never been that guy. I've never driven drunk. Never blacked out. Never even come close. But this time? I had no defense. Not even for myself. I'd never felt so small. By morning, I wasn't thinking clearly. I wasn't thinking much at all. Just sitting, hunched forward, elbows on knees, watching the dust float in the air like it had somewhere better to be. I didn't even realize visiting hours had started until the door buzzed and I heard my sister's voice. Mike. I looked up. Liz stood there with that same expression she's had since we were kids, the one that says, I'm not here to coddle you, I'm here to fix it. She came in fast, hugged me tight. I didn't hug back right away. I didn't feel like I deserved to be hugged. You okay? She asked, pulling back, studying my face. No, I said. Not really. She sat. Didn't waste time. I've already been making calls, she said. And I brought someone with me. Then the door opened again and Jenna walked in. Her face familiar. That soft, careful way she always looked at people like she was reading them before she said anything. I'd seen her around for years. At family things. Birthdays. Dinners. She was Liz's longtime friend, worked in law enforcement, some kind of criminal analyst. Quiet, smart. Always polite. But in my head, she was always just Liz's friend. She gave me a small smile. Not pity. Not judgment. Just calm. Hey, Mike, she said. I'm really sorry you're going through this. Yeah, I muttered. Me too. I talked to Liz, she continued. I know I'm not directly on your case, but I do have access to certain systems. If you're okay with it. I'd like to start looking around. I hesitated. You think there's something off? I asked. She glanced at Liz, then back at me. I don't like how fast they're closing the book on this. No one's asking real questions. And if you don't remember anything, that doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means someone else had the time to put you where they wanted you. I stared at her. You think I was set up? I think, she said carefully, there's a chance something's not right. And I'd like to find out what. I nodded slowly. Okay. What I didn't say. That just seeing her calm, focused, made me feel like someone was finally on my side. We talked for a bit longer. Liz made sure I had what I needed, which wasn't much. Then they both stood to leave. As Jenna turned to go, she paused and looked at me a second longer than necessary. Her hand brushed my wrist. Soft. Barely there. And maybe I imagined it, but there was something in her eyes. Something I hadn't noticed all these years. Warmth. Concern. Maybe even something more. But I didn't have the headspace to figure it out then. I was still too deep in the fog. Still too unsure of what I did or didn't do. But for the first time since waking up in that cell, I felt like someone believed me. And maybe that would be enough. For now. I didn't hear anything for 3 days. No new questions. No updates. No visitors. Just the same metal bench, same tasteless food, same dead air. The police had what they wanted, a clean suspect with no memory, no alibi, and a growing pile of circumstantial evidence. They weren't rushing anything. But I was rotting inside. Then one morning, during a shift change, a guard handed me a folded note through the bars. Working on something. Stay quiet. Jay. That was it. No logo, no envelope. Just black ink, fast handwriting. And I knew exactly who it was from. It didn't mean much on its own. But damn if it didn't feel like oxygen. Meanwhile, the cops were still treating me like a problem already solved. They didn't even look at me like a person anymore, more like a case file with a pulse. It was clear they were expecting a plea deal soon. Wrap it up, put a bow on it, move on to the next screw-up. But Jenna? She was working. I didn't know what exactly. But I could feel it. What I didn't know until much later was just how good she was at what she did. She didn't kick down doors or flash badges. She logged into her terminal at work, pulled case files, ran timelines. She looked for what didn't fit. And the first thing that didn't? The call to the police. The anonymous tip that led officers to find me passed out in the stolen car. She pulled the call log. Timestamp 12:42 a.m. Voice disguised. Male. Said a drunk guy had passed out in a black sedan parked off Route 17. Gave a plate number, then hung up. But here's what caught her attention. That call came in before the hit and run had even been officially reported. Not by much. Maybe 7 minutes. But it meant someone had already known exactly where I was and what car I was in. Before the story even hit dispatch. That wasn't random. She kept digging. Then she ran a quick check on the car's GPS log. It hadn't been erased yet. She had a friend at DMV with access to the vehicle tracking records, a gray area, but she knew how to pull the thread without raising flags. And the route? That car left the estate around midnight. Took the back road. Stopped for 2 full minutes on the corner of Lincoln and Maple, right where the victim was hit. Then drove 3 more blocks and parked on Route 17. Total trip time, less than 10 minutes. So far, it matched what the cops said. But here's the problem, the driver's door never opened again after the car was parked. Not for 23 minutes. Then a single door opened and closed. Passenger side. Then nothing until officers arrived and found me unconscious in the front seat, driver's side. Jenna made a note. A long one. Then she pulled something else. Security footage from a house near the estate. Just a side camera, grainy, not meant for anything special. But pointed at the road. At 12:11 a.m. it caught a car pulling off. The same model as Reese's sedan. 2 people standing near it. One of them looked a lot like Haley. The other? Could have been anyone. But later, when Jenna zoomed in on the freeze frame, enhanced it, cleaned the contrast, the shape, the build, the outline. It matched Tyler Reese. The same man who claimed someone stole his car that night. The guy who left the keys in it by accident. The guy who said he didn't know me. Who just happened to show up at the same party. Who didn't call the cops until morning. She didn't say anything to me yet. Didn't go to the detectives. She wasn't ready to throw accusations around. But she had her teeth in something now. And she wasn't letting go. She told Liz what she'd found. And Liz, God bless her, showed up the next day during visitation. Sat down across from me. Looked me in the eye. You didn't do this, she said. I knew it. Jenna's on it. She's finding stuff. My mouth went dry. What kind of stuff? I can't tell you everything yet, she said, lowering her voice. But Mike, this wasn't an accident. You didn't just wander into that car. Someone put you there. I just stared at her. Heart racing. Everything in me wanted to believe it, but I was still scared to. Because if I didn't do it, that meant someone very close to me had. Haley, my wife, kept pouring me drinks that night. I didn't think much of it then. Hell, I thought she was being fun. Playful. Yeah? Looking back? I don't know. Something about it doesn't sit right anymore. 3 days into being locked up, Liz came to see me again. This time, she looked different. More serious. Less worried, more focused. She sat down and got straight to it. Jenna's been digging, she said. Quietly. And Mike, something's not adding up. That hit hard. I leaned forward. Like what? She's pulling everything she can without raising alarms, GPS data, call records, traffic cams, whatever she can legally or semi-legally touch. I nodded, trying not to get my hopes up. She thinks Haley and that guy Reese knew each other before the party. I blinked. Wait. What? She's not saying it yet officially, but there's overlap. Same places, same nights. Posts on different accounts from the same locations. She even found one picture of Haley sitting on a patio and that guy posted a photo from the same spot, same background, same chairs. I just stared at her. You're saying they were, what? Seeing each other. Liz didn't answer right away. But her silence said plenty. I don't know what they were doing, she finally said. But it wasn't random. And she sure as hell knew he was at that party. I sat back. Let that swirl in my head. You think they planned all this? I asked quietly. She shook her head. No. Jenna doesn't think it started that way. But something happened that night, and now they're covering for each other. Or worse. That part made my stomach twist. They weren't saying it out loud, not yet. But I could feel it under her words. Something about this whole thing wasn't just convenient, it was constructed. Jenna had also looked into the anonymous call that brought the cops to that roadside spot. Came in shortly after midnight. Male voice, short call, no details, just a drunk guy passed out in a car, looks like he might hurt someone. Then the line went dead. Jenna flagged the timing. The call came in before Reese even reported the car stolen. Before the accident hit the system. And the route? She traced it, the vehicle's GPS showed a perfect little timeline. Leaving the party. Stopping for a few minutes. Then parking quietly off the road. That's it. Too clean. Any cameras? I asked. Liz nodded. She's working on it. There's one on a house just outside the estate. The quality's crap, but you can make out 2 people standing next to the car that night. And? One of them. Jenna thinks it might be Haley. Silence. I just sat there. I didn't know what to say. What can you say when your own wife might have stood next to the car you woke up in and left you there? No accusations yet. No smoking gun. But the cracks were showing. And deep down I could feel it, that shift. When something inside you stops hoping it's all just a misunderstanding. And starts realizing it might be something else entirely. Another few days passed. At that point, I was just floating. Eating without tasting. Sleeping in hour-long spurts. I'd stopped asking the guards for news, they didn't have any. But then Liz came back. And she had that look like she couldn't wait to sit down and speak. Jenna found something, she said, the moment she sat. No warm-up. No small talk. Just that. I leaned forward. What is it? She got a hold of the vehicle data. Reese's car logs everything, door sensors, ignition, cabin pressure. Nothing fancy, but enough to track what happened when. I just stared at her. And? She opened her bag and pulled out a printout. Look. The car stopped. Engine off. Time matches exactly when the cops later found you. But here's the weird part. She pointed at the line. The doors were opened twice after the engine shut off. I froze. After it was parked? Yeah. 2 doors. Passenger side first. Then driver's side 6 minutes later. Then nothing until the cops arrived. I blinked. So someone opened the doors after it stopped. While I was asleep. Exactly. And here's the thing, if you'd been the one who parked it and passed out, the doors wouldn't have opened at all. You'd just be sitting there. I felt my stomach twist. You think they moved me? Liz nodded slowly. Jenna thinks someone drove the car, parked it, then came around and moved you into the driver's seat. Closed the doors. Left. It made me dizzy. I could practically see it. Someone dragging me out of one car, half limp, slumping me into another seat. And there's more, Liz added. She leaned in. One of the traffic cams near the estate caught Haley's car leaving just minutes after Reese's. Jenna checked the time codes. Too close to be random. My throat tightened. She followed him? Liz didn't answer. She didn't have to. I sat back against the wall. Just breathing. What else? She's checking cameras near the crash site next. looking for anything. And she's trying to confirm who actually made that anonymous call. Might have come from a burner. There it was again, that rising feeling in my gut. The slow, bitter realization that this wasn't a mistake. That I wasn't unlucky. That I'd been placed in that seat. Framed. By someone who knew I wouldn't remember. Someone who had every reason to protect herself. And someone else. Liz must have seen it on my face because she put a hand on my arm. "We're close," she said. "Jenna's not letting this go. Not until it's clear." And for the first time since I woke up in that cell, I started to believe this nightmare might actually crack. Next time Liz came, I could see it on her face the second she walked into that room. Something had shifted. She looked sharper. Not tense. Not worried. Just ready. She sat down, leaned in, and said, "Jenna went to the department." I blinked. Wait, she what? She laid it all out. Everything she had. The data logs. The camera timelines. The car diagnostics. She put it in a report and dropped it right in front of the officer handling your case. That hit me like a punch. She went straight to them? Liz nodded. She had to. They were getting close to filing charges, Mike. Real charges. If she waited too long, it would have been too late. I didn't say anything. Just let it sink in. Did they take it seriously? At first? No. Not really. She said they kind of shrugged it off, that's interesting kind of attitude. But then she mentioned the GPS data. The door sensors. The anonymous call. She paused. You remember that call, right? Yeah, I said. Anonymous tip told them where to find me. Liz leaned in again. Jenna called it a firebug move. Said it felt like one of those guys who lights a fire and then calls it in. You know, the arsonist who wants credit for discovering the fire. That hit me right in the chest. Because yeah, that's exactly what it was. They crashed the car. Dumped me in the seat. Then call 911 like good little citizens just doing their part. And the cops? They walk right into it. Jenna said the timing was too perfect, Liz continued. That call came in before anyone else even knew there'd been a hit and run. I sat back, gripping the edge of the table. So what now? I asked. Liz exhaled. Now they have to at least look. They can't pretend it's all clean anymore. Will they admit they screwed it up? She gave a sad smile. Probably not. But they'll cover themselves by re-examining the evidence. Jenna said they asked for copies of everything. The footage, the logs. Even the original call audio. I let out a shaky breath. And Jenna, she's not stopping. She's digging through communication records now. Phone metadata. She thinks Haley and Reese were texting during the party. Of course they were. She also pulled receipts. Timestamps. Haley left the party before she claimed she did. Reese too. Both of them off the property within 5 minutes of each other. I swallowed hard. What about the guy who got hit? Liz shook her head. Still unconscious. But if he wakes up and he remembers anything. She didn't have to finish the sentence. Everything could flip. I stared at the wall, trying to wrap my head around how close I came to being buried under this whole thing. How's Haley acting? I asked, not really wanting to know the answer. Liz gave a cold laugh. She's calm. Playing the worried wife. Visiting your lawyer. Asking questions. Saying she hopes you get the help you need. That made me clench my fists. Help I need? She's the one who let me get drunk. Let me pass out. Watched me get loaded into that car and did nothing, no, worse than nothing. She made the call. Literally or figuratively, maybe both. And now she was out there. Sleeping just fine. Pretending she was the heartbroken wife whose drunk husband ruined his own life. I don't know how long I sat there. But Liz didn't say much after that. Just held the space with me. Before she left, she said one last thing. Jenna's filing an internal complaint. Quietly. She's using a contact in oversight. It's not just about you anymore. She wants accountability. I nodded. I couldn't say thank you. Not then. My throat wouldn't let me. But inside, for the first time in weeks, I felt the weight shift. Not disappear. Just tilt. Slightly. And that was enough. They didn't tell me right away. No apology. No update. Just silence. But I knew something had changed. The guards started acting different. Less cold. One of them even asked me if I needed anything. Just like that. No smirk. No sarcasm. And when my lawyer showed up again, he wasn't nearly as smug as the first time we met. He sat down, cleared his throat, and said, "Looks like your case just got a whole lot more complicated for them." I didn't smile. Didn't even flinch. Tell me. He leaned forward. There's new evidence. Video. GPS logs. Witness statements. Someone from inside the department raised a flag, said the investigation had major holes. I blinked. Jenna, He nodded. I believe so. Then he laid it out. Turns out a full internal review had been launched after Jenna's report hit the oversight division. Some of the data couldn't be ignored anymore. Especially the car telemetry, the door sensor records, the timestamps, all showing movement after the car stopped, movement that didn't match the story I supposedly told. Only, I never told a story. I had nothing to say. They built it for me. And now it was starting to fall apart. That security camera footage Jenna found? The one showing two figures standing beside the car after the incident? It had been enhanced. And it was clear enough now to show Haley. Not a maybe. Not a guess. Haley, my wife, standing with Reese, looking around, then getting into another vehicle and driving off. And minutes later, the anonymous call. You get it? They weren't reacting to the crash. They were managing it, cleaning up, framing it. There was also a store cam near the intersection where the victim was hit. Caught a black sedan driving past, no headlights. The image was blurry, but you could tell it wasn't me driving. I don't know how Jenna pulled it all together, but she did, piece by piece. Then came the kicker. They found messages, not texts, deleted texts, recovered through subpoena from Haley's cell provider. One of them, from Reese, maybe 5 minutes after the crash, read, "He's still out. This could work. Just keep calm." Another from Haley. "We have to do it now. I'll follow you. Don't panic." That's what broke it wide open. The same cops who were ready to pin this whole thing on me? Now they were pulling back. Quickly. Within 24 hours, I was told the charges were suspended pending review. Within 48, I was released under supervision. No press. No noise. Just handed my clothes and walked out the side door like I'd been picked up for unpaid parking tickets. Liz was waiting. Jenna too. I didn't say much. Just nodded at them. Took a long breath of real air. First in weeks. And Jenna? She just looked me in the eye and said, "It's not over. But you're almost there." And she was right. Because by the time I got home, Reese had already been arrested. Charged with obstruction, false report, reckless driving, and tampering with evidence. He tried to lawyer up. Tried to spin it. Didn't work. Because the evidence? It didn't care what story he wanted to tell. And Haley? She cracked. Of course she did. She tried to say he pressured her. Said she didn't know what really happened. That she panicked. That she only did it because she was afraid. But the texts? The GPS? The footage of her literally standing next to the man she barely knew? It buried her. She got a deal, sure. They always do. Minimal time. Some sort of obstruction plea. She won't do hard time. She'll cry, say sorry, maybe get probation after a few months. But her name? Her face? That's toast. And me? I was out. Cleared. No charges. No record. A week after I got out, Liz invited me to dinner at her place. Said no restaurants. No noise. Just family. When I showed up, her husband opened the door like nothing happened. "Beer?" he asked, already walking to the fridge. I nodded. "Please." The table was set. Roast chicken, potatoes, salad, something that actually smelled like food and not plastic and steam. And there was Jenna. She smiled when she saw me. Not nervous. Just relaxed. Like someone who'd just finished a job and could finally sit down. We all ate in silence for a bit. Normal stuff. Jokes. Catching up. The kind of small talk that feels like medicine after the kind of weeks I'd just lived through. Then Liz cleared her throat. "You want to tell him?" she said, nodding toward Jenna. Jenna looked at me. "You sure you want to hear it?" "Yeah," I said. "I need to know." She put down her fork. "All right, here's what we pieced together. It matches the evidence, the camera footage, the call logs, everything." I sat back and listened. "Haley knew Reese was going to be at that party," she said. "They'd been talking for weeks. She was the one who pushed you to go, make it look like everything was normal." I nodded. That part I'd already figured out. She kept feeding you drinks all night. Not drugs, we checked toxicology. Just steady alcohol, enough to slow you down and knock you out. That was the plan, keep you half conscious so she could sneak off with him. Which she did, Liz added. More than once. There are gaps in the party video, she's gone for 10, 15 minutes at a time. Always around the same time Reese disappears too. Jenna picked it back up. At some point Reese left on his own. He was tipsy. Not falling down drunk, but enough to mess up. He drove off. And a few miles from the estate he hit someone. Crosswalk. No headlights. Guy was walking home from work. I closed my eyes. He panicked, she said. Didn't stop. Just drove another few minutes, pulled over on a side road, called Haley. I opened my eyes again. She didn't even hesitate, Jenna said. She got in her car, drove to him. He was still in the driver's seat, shaking. And that's when she said it. Said what? I asked. She told him, this is your chance. My husband's passed out. Let's use it. I didn't speak. She went on. They moved you. Car to car. Put you in his vehicle. Seat adjusted to your height. Cleaned off the wheel with a cloth from her purse. She called in the anonymous tip. Then they both drove off. I just stared at the table. She says it was his idea. He says it was hers. Personally. Jenna paused. From everything I've seen, I believe him. Yeah, Liz added. Same here. Haley's clever. This wasn't made up on the spot. It was fast, but not sloppy. Like she'd been thinking that way for a while. I ran a hand down my face. And the guy who got hit? I asked. He's awake, Jenna said. Still in recovery, but he's talking. Can't remember the exact car, but he told detectives the driver didn't even slow down. Just kept going. It lines up with Reese's route and damage. Nobody said anything for a while after that. Then Liz's husband raised his glass. To Jenna. We all clinked. Even she rolled her eyes a little. After dinner, we moved to the back porch. Jenna sat next to me. I didn't say much. But at some point, I looked at her and said, You saved my life. She smiled. I just couldn't let someone like you go down like that. I hadn't noticed how close she was before. Maybe I never looked. But now I did. And maybe that's another story. As for Haley, she lost everything. Her job. Her image. Me. Reese got time. She got a deal. But either way, they're both finished. And me? I'm free. That's all.